Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to review round 7 of the 2025 Supercoach season. And it's good to be back. I guess, a few weeks of struggles almost seems worth it now. Thanks to a massive 1400 on the dot this week, which was in the top 350 for the round. Top 1% of the round easily, and has seen us skyrocket 21,000k in the ranks. So inside the top 50k now, things are moving in the right direction. Hopefully it continues to do so, and it wasn't just a case of one of those weeks where all the pods come off and I just happen to have them. I don't think I've got that many pods, to be honest, but I guess I've got enough to get that higher score. So we'll have a look at the team and how it went. 6 out of 6 league wins is nice as well. But yeah, we got Corey Pakes at hooker with just the 27. I'm pretty sure that's the score that dropped off. So, we definitely need to upgrade at hooker, especially now he's moved to the bench. They started Billy Walters this week, and I know he scored a try early and did some good stuff. So I think Pakes is done. Sandon Smith with a 37. Obviously the Panthers are back. So probably about as good as we could expect from him. As I've got an itchy back, jam up on the camera there. Captain Payne Haas this week, so an 85 is a solid result. We'll absolutely take that. Terrell May was immense. I think he played the 80 minutes. I didn't see all of the game. I caught a bit at the end. But yeah, 102. Everyone's got him though, so that wasn't. It was part of the reason why I got 1400, but it wasn't the reason. Big Tino with 69, solid score there. In the second row, we had the Horse with 53. Mitch Barnett stepping up without Fisher Harris around with a 63. And I think he went over for a disallowed try as well, so I was a bit flat. I did watch the game, but maybe I was just... I dreamt that happened. Nafahu White was massive as well with a 76, probably aided by Nat Butcher having to go off. And so I guess he's sort of back to where he was at the start of the year with no Nat Butcher, no Lindsay Collins. So well done to those who held. I think, he is going to do us good in the future. Did VC Jerome Hughes, who got up for the game, only a 61, so obviously Payne Haas was the man. Cleary was back with a 116, so glad I held him. Metcalf scored a 56, which is solid. Obviously the match-winning penalty goal as well was nice. Probably had a few more points if he kicked a couple more of those in the wind. It was a bit tricky. Jaden Campbell's an interesting one. So obviously laid out for the Titans, and it sounds like he's out for a few weeks. So can we afford to hold 700k on the bench for that long? I guess we do have a couple of boosts up our sleeve, but we really don't want to use them. We do want to upgrade at hooker, and we may have to get a cheap centre wing in this week. But the two trade-ins this week did the business for us. Jacob Kiraz with an 84. Herbie Farmworth with a 98 was amazing without a try. No, actually he scored a try. Kiraz didn't score a try. So, great trade-ins there. I know a few people were tossing up, bringing one or the other. Went both, and it was a nice move. Greg Marzu hit it finally with a 138. I only saw one highlight where he was just basically running infield. I think he busted a few tackles and maybe a try assist or something in the end, but didn't really see the Knights game. But yeah, fantastic to see that the beast is back. Tamale with an 89. We did predict that against the Titans, conceding the most points for Supercoach anyway. So that was the right pick there. With the Campbell out, we did pick Jenkins over Toya. Wasn't the right move, but 38 points is 38 points. And then the fullback. So Ponga continues to struggle, 46, but I don't think we can afford to get off at this point. Iongi, so Mitch Moses did make all the world of difference to the Parramatta attack from what I can gather. Like I said, I didn't see much of the game yesterday, but 76, I think there was 2 tries in that, so the base is still a little bit iffy, but that's all we wanted was that final little sort of push in cash. So he's got a 53 break even. I thought it would be lower than that. What did he score? So yeah, I guess the 107's now gone. So, might be a little bit more cash on offer. Give it another 70 score this week, all going to plan. And that, I guess there was a sin bin in that too. So you level it out, I think it's an okay score. But yeah, not an urgent trade out, although he is on the buy this week. So if you did want to cash out now, absolutely understand. And Teddy with a 65, it's probably his lowest score from the year from memory. Definitely the lowest score since I've owned him. Yeah, he did get a 43 in round 1. But, 65 against a hot Penrith team, take that every day of the week. So in terms of game day, nice head-to-head wins. So the first one was against a 12-26 from Mitchell's team, the Brown Carrigans. So he did captain Pappy, which was comparable to Payne Haas. But I guess no Greg Marzu there, no Farnworth, no Kiraz. So who was his centre wings? Garrick with a 39, Coates with just a 60, Shibasaki with 55, Fletcher Sharp with 85, and Hiroti with 80. So did have me somewhat covered there. But I guess it was just maybe like a Olaquatu with a 46 was a bit flat. I guess Garrick with 39 sort of matched up with Jenkins, which is not what you want. But yeah, we had May, had Cleary, see. Yeah, I'm not really sure why it was so low. Like I guess Tamale and Marzu were quite high as well. So just those few bigger, close to 100 scores, whereas Sharp and Hiroti was about as close as he got there. And so I'm pretty sure across all the leagues too, having a quick look, I did top score. So we'll give Nacho a shout out for a 1375, was pretty close. So Captain Kiraz, which love that move. Had Haas, Dylan Edwards with a 134, Alamotti with a 105. So loading up on the Panthers was a great move. Might not have paid off previously, but well done for keeping the faith there, Archer. Had Terrell May as well, which is always a key to a good score. In the second league, so the Red Roosters, 1348 is definitely respectable, just a bit stiff to hit a 1400 head-to-head this week. Like Lehigh with an 87 was good. Captain Cleary, which definitely outdid Payne Haas. But probably having to play Sandon Smith was a bit stiff. Had Greg Marzu as well, so no wonder we were so close. And I'm pretty sure as well that was the second best score in this league after my 1400. So that's a stiff one there, Jaden. Anyone else, you would have got the dub this week. But I need it. 1400. Like, have a go at how poor I'm going. And after probably the worst edit in the history of YouTube, the third league, 1280 for Rick's team, Captain Pugwash. So Presto with an 88, nice to have him in the team. Eli Katoa was a bit flat with 37, but Connor Watson with 86. It's a case of do we have to get him in at hooker, because he is killing it. Adam Dewey was a little bit flat with 36. Obviously playing halfback, we were hoping for a bit more there. Across the league, I probably scrolled through a bit too quick. 1300 from Super Troopers was probably the next best, so quick shout out to Scott, Captain Pappy, had Greg Marzu and Tamale and Tedesco, so few similar players there. Jesse Arthur's a little bit flat, 45. Olaquatu and Gutho as well, probably not where they have been. So obviously, that's where I made up a few points this week. Maybe just have a quick look at the other players that went good this week. Hudson Young continues to kill it. You can't get him in at 8.23. That's too expensive. But yeah, well done to the 6% that own him. Probably well up there overall. Max King breaking the try drought. How good. And just massive, like the work rate. So massive pot at 1.7. Bit of chat that he'll play for England now through his mum's ancestry. I think, he'd be a shoo-in for the English team surely. But a few of these guys we've featured, mostly because they're in my team. Mitch Moses, like I said, made all the difference in the world, 98. Isaiah Katoa, he was my dream team pod, and he instantly rewarded me with not a 98 in dream team, but in a surprise win against the Storm, was involved in a heap. The Fox scored a couple of tries, so 94 for him. Couchman, I think he is a keeper option, 91, smashing it, averaging 70 this season. Kai Pearce-Paul, nice return for him as well. So I don't know why Ponga's not getting amongst it. But a lot of these other guys we've already discussed. So I guess looking ahead to this week, some key break-evens. Billy Smith, I think if he's named this afternoon, is going to be super popular. Hirotti's probably got one more week, so not a trade, but well done if you did get him in, 113k in cash. Love to see it. Bud Sullivan, be interesting to see if he gets named this week after his week off. Alan Fitzgibbon's an interesting one. Didn't score much in the first game, but a 51 this week, and from all reports looks the goods as an NRL player. So if you're looking for a bottom dollar cheapie, he's probably the one this week. But maybe Lali'i might have a couple more weeks there on the wing. Maybe a little bit more luck goes his way. But I think there'll be people looking at a few more. I thought they'd be a bit lower in break even, but maybe not. So a couple of potential second rowers like Halasima, 374k, but a break even of 1, but just looks like a beast on that edge. If he can keep the spot, obviously Rocco Berry, RTS to come back into the side. Does Capewell go back to the second row? And then I guess if you Savala potentially still hasn't made any money off his 21 last week. But is playing, and obviously they're not playing the Panthers again anytime soon. Already played them twice this year. So the fixture's a little bit better. The Bulldogs in round 11 is not ideal, but does offer that bye coverage depending on how long Sam Walker is out for. So those would be the trade-in targets. But for me, this week, I sort of already telegraphed it a bit last week, but the plan is to get Skelton out, Billy Smith in, so I'll just go break evens, boom, and it gives us 250k to upgrade at hooker. So as I said, Pakes is done, got to get out of Pakes, and so the question is, who do we bring in? So interestingly, Tommy Starling, number 1 overall on points, which I wouldn't have expected. Well done to the people who bought him in. He's made 160k, and he's been at keeper levels. Connor Watson, I think, if it wasn't for Origin, he'd be straight in the team. Problem is, he's got to be the 14 for New South Wales, and which means then he'll miss 13, 16, 12, 15, 18 it is this year. And then the Roosters also have a bye in round 14 and 17. So, what it might mean is that he does play those minor bye weeks, which is 13, 16, 19, because he will get those breaks the week after, particularly 13 and 16. But is it worth it to have someone who's only going to play 2 weeks out of those 8, essentially? Yeah, something like that. I can't do the maths in my head that quickly. So, it's going to be a few trades to trade him in, trade him out, trade him back in. And, we've already got Sandon Smith sitting there at hooker, so we can't carry 2 Roosters in that week where they're on the bye. Obviously with the flex, we can just play 17, so it is still an option. But I guess, do we look at trading out Smith leading into the bye? Break even of 52, he's probably made his money. So what I'm thinking is, what's his break even? 26. So it's probably we do have to get him in now if we want to hold him for the rest of the year. I guess a couple of the other options we were looking at, Max Plath's gone down with plantar fasciitis, which is not great. Long time out for him. Might be good for Tom Gilbert owners like myself in fantasy, but we'll talk about that in that video. Also Harry Grant going down injured. So some people might be thinking Bronson Garlic, but I don't think he actually did that well this week. See if I can find him. Yeah, like 41. He'll make a bit of cash, but it's nothing massive. I think Kim and Wishy will sort of share that workload in the hooker spot. Garlic will definitely start as a more defensive type option, and then Wishart will come on, and then they might work together at the back end of the game in a 1-2 sort of punch to take advantage of tight defence. So I'm sort of going towards Cam McInnes. I've bought him in Dream Team. I've got him in draft, and everyone wants Cam McInnes. Dual position, solid base. It's pretty mint for our draft. But I think we can do it in Classic as well, given that he does cover round 12. So if we look at the upcoming fixtures, so it doesn't go that far ahead, but does play the Roosters in round 12. And then we do have Smith covering in 13. Could be Watson as well, as I said, if he comes back for that. So, and then doesn't play 18, but covers 15 and 16 as well. So I do like Cam McInnes as a pick. And then obviously as well, he can slide down in my second row. If I do have Watson, and then I can get a Grant or something at the back end if I'm absolutely flying. So I think those are the two trades this week. Obviously, it would be nice to get Fitzgibbon in as a downgrade potentially, probably for like a Jenkins. He's not setting the world on fire. What's his break even? Is he going to lose cash? 48's not the worst. We'll keep him in case we need him. But yeah, happy to get rid of Skelton. 2 hamstrings, that's enough for me. So let's lock in the trades. And let's put together a team for this week. So Cam McInnes, we've got a set and forget hooker now. Sweet. 3 front rowers, killing it. 3 back rowers are good. Hughes and Cleary, yes. Metcalf, obviously we can't play Campbell. Should have talked about some 5'8 options there, but let's quickly do it. So if you are looking to trade out Campbell, which, 700k is a lot to hold, but, Dylan Brown on the bye makes it a bit tricky. Munster's got Origin coming up, so I mean, if you're willing to burn trades, yes. Harris Tavita's been a sneaky one, made 150 in cash. We're probably all looking at Metcalf as the 5'8 option there at the Warriors, but CHT's been good. I guess Brimo with Campbell out might do a bit more, but 46 on the weekend doesn't suggest so. I guess the obvious one would be Matt Burton, but he'd surely be 18th man for the New South Wales team, which usually excludes him from round 12, round 15, round 18. It's just one of those burdens of being so flexible and being so good at the football. Doesn't look like he was there. I was hoping maybe Tommy Weaver, but he'd be halfback only, replacing Campbell. So a like-for-like replacement. So, yeah, I think it's, if you want to gamble on Burton, if you want to trade Munster in and out, otherwise I'd wait a week. You could get Dylan Brown. Lockie Galvin, who knows what's happening there. But, just avoid until you get some clarity. And other than that, there's not a lot going on in the 5'8 position. Maybe Dewey, if you like him as a half. Obviously, it didn't work out this week, but give time for the combination to flourish. It'll come good. Tom Dearden coming off the bye actually is probably an interesting one. You'd think with Munster he might miss Origin. He could be 18th man as well. Hard to say at this point. But not much going on at 5'8", so I think I'm holding Campbell. So that's the plan. So we've got Tino, we've got Cleary. I guess with no Yongi this week, we do need to find another bench option. So you've got the Roosters against the Dragons, or the Panthers against Manly at CommBank. So I guess we could look at someone like a Cant. So away to New Zealand. I guess we have to wait and see what's going on with Dylan Lucas. So maybe we play Egan. Hopefully a bit of solid base there. No Hubner this week. So no Stewart this week as well. I think they're both concussed. Absolute hard-working weapons in the middle. So it's going to be something like that. We've obviously got to see team lists. You can see even Tigers Sharks, there's no odds on them yet just because of the uncertainty around the Lockie Galvin situation. But yeah, initially vice captain, captain. So I'm going to the game on Thursday night. Broncos, the Dogs here in Brisbane. So it's got to be Kiraz. Fire him up for a big one. And then, just the solid captaincy option. Not more solid than Terrell May at the moment. So it's probably going to be something like that. Guess you could go Cleary against Manly, not the worst shout. Hughes against South at Amy is nice, albeit Friday night. Anzac game, they do fire up for, so maybe Jerome Hughes. But as I said, I'm just going to be absolutely cheering the big man on at Suncorp. So that's the initial thoughts anyway. We'll wrap the video up there. If you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the Supercoach content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.